So the syllabus review for this class, I'm going to go over kind of the highlights. I assume you can all read, so make sure you read the syllabus. It's very important, and it's got a lot of good stuff in there. You can scan this code or click the link in Canvas to get there. But I'm going to show you most of it right now. Again, office hours. Most of my office hours are at the Panorama campus because that's where I spend most of my time. 2:30 to 3:30 is right after my Panorama class. So if you want in-person, whatever, at that time, you can come in. At BC Southwest, I'm going to be here early. So if you want to meet me in the hall, now obviously there's a class in this classroom right before that. I don't have an office here, so technically it's not office hours, it's hall hours. But I'm happy to meet with you to answer questions or chat before class. And if none of those times works for you, I can also set up a Zoom appointment. Just contact me for an appointment. If you're going to show up at my Panorama office hours, I will say it's a great idea to shoot me a text or send me an email or whatever. Let me know that you're coming, because sometimes I schedule other appointments with students, or I have a meeting that pops up at the last minute or whatever. I'd hate for you to show up or go through all the work of parking in that Armageddon of a parking lot up at BC and then have me not be there. So just, it's good to communicate with me. And that's going to be sort of a theme throughout the syllabus as we go through it. Attendance, yes, you have to be here because you're in a face-to-face class. If you're watching this online, your attendance is based purely on your participation, your completion of work. And honestly, in this class, for the purpose of keeping you in the class versus not keeping you in the class, even in a face-to-face class, it's really based on you doing the work, not so much having your butts in the seats. Now, like I said, you are required to be there, and I recommend that you stay for the work time because I think it's valuable, but I'm really more concerned about your progression in the class than I am about sitting here. We will work through 1 to 2 modules per week. There are 16 weeks of class, and there are 19 modules. So if you can do that math, you know that there are a few weeks where we're going to hit more than one module. And sometimes those weeks will be extra intense, and sometimes those modules will be a little bit more low-key, so it won't feel too bad. But I also offer this class in an 8-week format in which some weeks we do like 3 or 4 modules. So this is pretty slower pace compared to that. So lecture time, work time, I already talked about that. Talked about this. Now, these deadlines right here are really, really important. Okay. A1, assignment 1 in the class, has to be done by 11:59 p.m. on 1/29. Okay. Assignments all the way through A5, so A1 through A5, have to be done by March 11th at 11:59 p.m. If you miss either of those deadlines, I will drop you from the class. And the reason for that is because after doing this for a number of years, what I realized is that students who don't make those deadlines, almost without exception, will fail the class. Because what happens is we are here at the end of the first week, and the first assignment is so incredibly easy that you will likely have it completed by the time you walk out of here today. If you don't do that assignment after a week, you're probably just not going to do anything in this class. This one, A5, is due right before the halfway point in the class. Now notice there are 19 modules. If you can't complete the first 5 by halfway through the class, that means you're way behind. And if you're that far behind that you haven't finished A5, you're probably not going to catch up, because why would you be that far behind in the first place? Now, here's the deal. If something happens to you, if you have an emergency where you had to run out of class right now and you had to go take care of somebody in the hospital and life just went sideways all of a sudden and you can't get A1 finished by next week, and you text me and you say, listen, I want to be in this class. I'm sure I'll be able to catch up. I'm a good student, but life went sideways. I'm not going to drop you. I'm not a jerk about that, at least. Maybe about other things. And same with A5. If you've had like, I've had students that say, my grandma, yeah, have a seat. My grandma lives in Mexico and she just died. And we have, our whole family is traveling to Mexico for a month for the funeral. And I won't have internet access because she lives in the countryside. Whatever. Okay, I'll work with you on that. Yes, sir. Question.
Question. What if you have a 6-year-old and a 75-year-old grandma you have to take
Well, I'm going to give you leniency, but I hope that you will at least stay with those two.
of? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm giving you lots of notice, and like I said, A1 is so easy you can probably finish it before you leave class today, and A5 is is that's 4 more assignments past that, and it's halfway through the class. I would say this one's probably the one that I'm more concerned about in that, given your situation. Um, but what that says to me is you're having a hard time keeping up, and maybe this isn't the time to take the class. But that said, if you come every day to class and you sit through the lecture and you work really hard during the work time, I bet you won't be that far behind. I'm willing to bet. So that's just the way it is. Mostly, this assignment is for people who start just blowing it off. I'm gonna leave early today. I'm gonna go over and get a donut at the marketplace, or I'm gonna go for a walk, or I don't feel like I'll do it at home later, and then they don't do it, and then they don't do it again. They don't do it again. That one gets you. But again, if you're that far behind, I'm worried about you keeping up in the first place. But if you're here and you're working, I've seen people with really literally no computer experience, like no computer experience, who come and sit here and do the work, who don't have any problem with that deadline. Okay, so I think it's possible. Uh, and I will say, you're talking to a guy who finished a PhD with 5 kids. So now my wife's a superstar. She would have to be to put up with my nonsense. But you can do almost anything if you want to bad enough. That's sort of the point. But I'm here to help. This isn't one of those classes where it's like um, you against me, and if you got to get past me if you want the grade. That's not how I do this. Um, the way I look at it, it's you and me against the projects. So I want to help you. Okay, so grades. If you read my byline here, that's absolutely honest truth how I feel about it, but also honest truth about what the research says about grades. My PhD isn't in computer science, by the way. My PhD is in educational leadership, which means I've spent decades studying the effects of grades on students. Grades are terrible for student performance because what happens when we start talking about grades is your mind immediately goes to, how can I game this class so that I can get the grade I want? You've immediately, the minute I show you this, you start thinking about, how do I get this? Not what can I learn? Am I right? So everyone starts with 0 points in this class. I'm going to make it dead simple. There will be no mystery about where your grades come from or how you get a grade. Everyone starts with 0. Why? Because you haven't done anything yet. That seems logical, right? Every assignment is keep trying until you get it. There's no penalty for late work. There is no penalty for resubmissions. And in fact, what I want you to do is keep trying until you get it. Either you'll submit an assignment, and I will look at it and I'll say, either, yes, that's what it's supposed to be. They showed me that they learned that thing. Or I'm going to give you some tips on that assignment and say, let's do this again. Let's work on it some more. And then you resubmit it. If you resubmit it, you get credit. It's full credit or no credit. But you get unlimited chances to get full credit. The goal here is, I want you to learn this. I'm not here to judge you. I'm not called the judge. I'm called the teacher. I'm a teacher because I want to teach you how to do the stuff. And the way to teach you how to do the stuff is to keep trying and working with you until you learn it. Just like real life, right? If you want to learn something on your own, you don't like go read a book, answer a multiple choice test on it, and then decide that you learned how to fix your car, right? You watch some YouTube videos, you buy some tools, you open the hood, you mess around a little bit, you start it up. If oil sprays on your face, you didn't do it right, you get feedback and you try again until you get it right. That's how learning works in the real world. And even in programming, most of the stuff I've learned in programming hasn't been sitting in a class. Most of it has been getting out there and trying it. There's no substitute for writing code. So I want you to write code. I want you to learn. There's 17 assignments in this class, each worth 10 points. There are 15 sandbox challenges, each worth 1 point. The sandbox challenges are going to be like a lot of hand holding, a lot of like type this and see what happens, be creative, play around, low pressure, 1 point each. You can skip anything you want to skip. You can do anything you want to do. Notice there's a huge range. The total maximum amount of points you can get in this class is 185 points. Do people do every single thing? Yeah, they do because they want to or whatever. Do they have to? No, because you could do 140 points and get an A, which means you could skip all the sandboxes and 3 assignments and still get an A in the class, as long as you do the first 5 assignments. Why? Because the last 4 assignments, the last 4 weeks of class, we're going to be doing assignments that I think are fun but are more challenging. Okay, so we're going to do an image editing app. We're going to do a video game. We're going to do a graphical user interface, and we'll do some data science, which if you don't know anything about data science, it's a really rapidly growing field that we are, by the way, launching a certificate program in this fall. So, and I just wrote it, so it's going to be awesome. So 100% in this class is based on 155 points. So you've got 30 points above and beyond 155. So there's technically, I don't know, 120% possible in this class. I don't call it extra credit because those are all real assignments. Everything's valid here. Extra credit is dumb. Most of the time it's like, okay, you guys watch a movie or, go get it, bring me a donut and I'll give you 10 points. No, that's not learning. Everything you do in this class is going to be learning, but you can choose. So this is the grade scale. It's not going to change. Everything's locked in. So in terms of our agreement for this class, you can expect things from me and I expect things from you. What you can expect from me is I will treat you with respect. Wait a minute. I switched the headings. This is what I expect from you. Treat people with respect, participate actively and regularly, communicate, challenge yourself, be patient with technology. Don't be afraid to fail. You're going to learn way more if you just try things out. Remember, Edison failed 1,000 times before he invented the light bulb. So goes the tale. I don't know exactly that. One of the best videos on failure, I'm not going to play it for you, but you should look it up if you haven't seen it, is Michael Jordan on failure. Just look it up, YouTube. It's great. So failing is part of learning. Remember, I'm on your team here, and do your own work. I'm going to talk about that more in a minute. I will treat you with dignity and respect. I will provide a great course. I will respond to your communication. I may not respond immediately. For example, I had a student texting me at 12:30 last night. Was I sitting up in bed just waiting to see if anybody was going to text me? No, I sleep like most people. And I enjoy weekends off and I go hiking with my family or whatever. I'm not on call, but if you text me at midnight, I'm not going to get mad about it. I just won't respond until I can. That seems reasonable, right? So don't freak out if you text me at midnight and I don't respond right away. It's because I'm sleeping. If I feel like you need support, even if you haven't said anything to me, if I get the sense, whatever, my spidey sense tells me that you need support, then I'll reach out to you. Do I always know? Absolutely not. If you're struggling, I hope you come to me and I hope you communicate that with me, because that way I can help you, because I want to. I will bring my A game every week for this class, and most importantly, I will trust you. I'm not the plagiarism police, okay? And that brings me to my next slide. I assume all of you know how to use ChatGPT. If you don't, you should. You should know about it. It's an important tool. It's a valid tool. Real programmers use this tool. I use this tool in my own coding. It's a great shortcut. But here's the deal. You're here to learn. If you start out with an over-reliance on artificial intelligence, and I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to pretend, every single assignment in this class can easily be done with ChatGPT. Every single one. I'm not going to waste any energy trying to prevent that from happening. I know professors that spend hours every week worrying about this stuff. I'm not going to. You're here to learn. Maybe you're just here for the grade, but good luck keeping a job that requires you to program if you've used ChatGPT to do all the assignments in this class. And good luck understanding the next level class above this if you want to major in computer science. If you want to learn, then get your hands dirty and do some coding. If you, and this is typically what happens. Most people start out assignment 1, assignment 2, assignment 3, they're doing pretty good. Then things start to get more difficult. And like, oh crap, I don't know how to, assignment 3 is kind of hard for me. I don't really understand it. I'm going to fold right here and use ChatGPT. And it's dead simple. ChatGPT will spit out the assignment. You can submit it. It's a simple enough assignment that I won't be able to tell if you've used ChatGPT or not. On the more advanced assignments, I can totally tell. But on the early assignments, nah, there's just not enough possible things you could do. So you submit a ChatGPT code, and then assignment 4 builds on that assignment. And since you didn't learn you didn't learn the thing in assignment 3, then you get to assignment 4 and you're like, I'm super in over my head already. And assignment 5 builds on that, and you get the idea, right? So you cut your own legs out from under you early in the class by over-reliance on ChatGPT or any other tool. You're really harming yourself because you won't be able to figure out the other assignments, and then you're just like a ChatGPT addict at that point. You need that hit every single time. So if you want to learn, especially early in the class, discipline yourself to struggle through the hardest stuff. Watch the videos again. Code along with the videos. These lecture videos, I will do a lot of coding during my lecture. You can take those videos back, have a window with the video, have your coding window open, and pause it, do some coding, play a little bit more. A lot of people do that. Great way to learn. Okay, when I was a kid, they used to have computer magazines where the last 5 pages of the computer magazine was this obscenely long program. It was like a game or a puzzle or it was just hundreds of lines of code on the last few pages of the magazine. And you'd sit there each month, you'd open it up and you'd type in that code, trying not to miss any periods or punctuation marks or whatever. And then at the end, you'd be rewarded with this game. Did I learn stuff from that? Even though I was just copying, I couldn't copy and paste, but I had to retype it. I learned a ton from that because I got to see how other people solve problems. So that was useful. And that's a great way to use ChatGPT is how would you solve this problem? And then look at it, don't copy and paste it, close the window, and then try and do it on your own. That's a valid way to use it. So do I expect that you'll use ChatGPT in this class in some way? Sure. Do I want you to have it do all your homework for you? No, because that's kind of dumb. Plus, then people are going to say, oh, everybody that finishes Mosley's class is kind of bad at programming. So even though he gives them a grade, he must not be a good teacher. So try not to make me look bad. And as far as what do I do if I find out or I suspect that you've used ChatGPT, what I typically do is if I feel like you've used code, whether it's from ChatGPT or some other source, and I don't think you understand what it is you posted as the assignment, I'll ask you questions about it. I'll engage you in a discussion, and and then you can convince me that you know what it is you did. And probably even if you didn't write that code, uh, our discussion will force you to learn it anyway. So, my job is just to be satisfied that you understand something, and I'm going to do that however I can. Now, in this class, I have actually provided you with an AI teacher's assistant. And if you want to use this teaching assistant to help you with code, it is there for that. Now, I have specifically programmed this TA to not give you answers. So if you say, here's my code, please fix it, it will say something like, well, what do you think is wrong with it? Or it'll say, maybe you should think about the names you use for your variables, or you should look at your punctuation. It'll give you hints, which is a lot more useful for your end game than it is than a chat GPT that just says, well, let me fix that for you. It'll also answer questions about office hours, syllabus, or anything else in the class. It has been given the entire textbook, all of the class materials, all of my notes, all the assignments. It knows all that stuff. So it will help you with those things. Now, I've actually embedded the TA right here on the homepage of Canvas. And there we go. So if I say, how many assignments are there? Okay. If it takes a long time. Okay, so 2 types of assignments, sandbox challenges and main assignments, 14 sandbox assignments, 19 assignments. Okay, those dates are out of date. I need to re-instruct it, but you get the idea. So you can interact with it. You can ask questions about class, but you can also just take your code. You can say, I'm working on assignment 3. Here's my code. I get an error. Here's the error. Copy and paste the error in there that you get. And it will actually help you. It'll walk you through a process of figuring out how to do your code. So that's a very useful tool. A lot of people have been really happy with how that's been able to help them. So that's available for you in class. On the syllabus, you'll see this weekly schedule. I'm not going to read it to you, but I want to point out a couple of things. Don't forget the spring break dates. That's there. Notice that after spring break, we've only got 4 weeks of class, including finals. So spring break is really late in the semester this year. Even though our semester actually started about a week later than usual and ends on the 16th, spring break still is pretty late in the year. So it's kind of an interesting semester for those that are paying attention. Also, this doesn't impact you directly. Obviously, yesterday was a holiday, and the Washington-Lincoln, the President's Day holiday is on the 17th. That doesn't impact this class, but it will impact my other class. So, and it may impact you if you have a class on Monday, Wednesdays. That's all of the holidays, but you can see what we're covering every week. So on Tuesday, we'll cover the first lecture. On Thursday, we'll cover the second lecture for this class. The Monday, Wednesday classes will be the same. The online classes will keep about the same pace of assignments, but you can see exactly what it is we'll be working on and what's what. So there is I want to take all of the mystery out of the class. I don't want there to be any surprises or any questions. I just want to be very upfront about how things work. The absolute drop dead date for all assignments in the class is the 15th of May at 11:59 p.m. because that's the end of the semester and that's the last day I can take assignments from anybody. So how to get an A in this class? Removing all the mystery. Write as much code as you possibly can. Write code for fun, write code for assignments. If you have I wonder, how much money I owe left on my car and I have, I make a payment of $125 a month for the next 12 months. Write a little program that will calculate that. Do little things, write programs that satisfy your curiosity. Be curious, but write as much code as possible. Uh, Come to class and stay for the work time. That's a big one. Don't cheat yourself. Um, Cheating is a weird thing. I don't call it cheating if you're sitting with somebody in your class and you're comparing code and you're sharing notes and you're teaching each other how to do it. Programming is not a solo activity, you guys. Programming and Python in particular, Python has the largest user community in the entire world of any programming language, period, full stop. It is the most popular programming language being used right now and has been for several years. Um, so that community is awesome. That's one of the things that makes it so great. But in this class, there's a learning community as well, and I expect you to use each other as resources. You'll quickly find out who the people in the class that are getting the assignments done quickly, and maybe you want to sit next to that person. Um, Keep up with the class. So it means schedule regular work time for yourself, whether you're an online student or here in person. Keep up with the class. If you fall too far behind, you're going to feel like you're drowning. You're going to have to cut corners. You won't have time to be curious or play or tinker with your code. You're just cramming through it, and that's not a good thing to do yourself. Over communicate with me. I don't penalize you for attendance. I don't know if you knew this, but teachers aren't allowed to have attendance impact your grade. Can they say participation? Yeah, they can do that. That's a workaround. I hate it, but it's a workaround. Um, I'm not going to penalize you for lack of attendance. I might get worried about you, or I might, if you just disappear, that's not a good thing. But if you can't come because you're sick or whatever, it never hurts to shoot me an email. Just say, hey, letting you know I won't be there or whatever. But I don't grade on attendance. I don't penalize you. Also, the last thing is if you feel like if you're stressed about passing the class and you feel like you're behind or lost or whatever, um, a lot of people just kind of want to bail without making a deal of it. Like just go online and drop the class and disappear. Um, I would encourage you to talk to me first because maybe there's something I can do to help you or support you better or um, help you succeed in the class. And sometimes I can. Sometimes it's beyond what I can help with, but let me know because maybe there's something I can do.